I'm sorry viewers, but this week's review will not be about Dorian Gray or 9. I was unable to find Dorian at any theater no matter how I searched. I don't know what happened to it. If somebody else does know, please let me know in the comments. As for 9, I was extremely busy this weekend, so that movie, at any rate, will have to go on hold. So for this week's review, I'm going to tackle the book Whitechapel Gods, and run it through a shredder. 2 reviews ago, I talked about my reading habits while critiquing The Edge City. I'm pretty picky about what books get on to become a favorite of mine. At the same time, however, there are very few books that earn my rampant dislike. Whitechapel Gods is therefore unique in that it did actually manage to make me loathe it. I ran across the book while poking around on buysteampunk.com, a website I will review at some point in the future. Said site has a list of steampunk books, and it is there that I first found The Edged City, so I figured I'd be in for more of the same excellent writing when I decided to purchase Whitechapel Gods. I couldn't have been more wrong if I'd picked with my eyes closed. The basic premise of the book is that a crazy nobleman named Baron something or other has taken over the Whitechapel district of London, cut it off from the rest of the city, and set up 2 gods, one known as Mama Engine, while the other has the name of, drumroll, Grandfather Clock. Ba-dum-tsh. These 3 entities keep the people in Whitechapel under their collective thumb, watching people Big Brother style through the faces of clocks and employing their own Gestapo, the Gold Cloaks, while the Boilermen act as stormtroopers who squash any and all sedition. There was a rebellion at one point, but the rebellion got put down, and those associated with it are still fuming with rage and plotting further attacks. There are several male characters, all of who looked and sounded the same to me, in that they were boring, monotonous, and depressing. The one female character was a stereotypical ex-prostitute named Missy, who seems to be mentally haunted by her old madam, Giselle, because what story that involves the word Whitechapel at any point is complete without a prostitute? At this point, I had to admit that I gave up trying to read the book and flung it across the room in a fit of rage, giving my roommate a concussion. Simply put, this book does not want you to read it. It's downright impenetrable. Each chapter begins with an excerpt from the writings of someone who I presume to be the Baron, but it's never explained, and any sensible editor would have scrapped the bloody things before they did anything else. The rest of the writing is top-heavy and wobbles when you lean on it, with plot holes you could drive a truck through. The opening scene in which 2 characters run from the Boilermen was good, but after that point it was just one big grind, wearing me down till I could take it no longer. The author seems determined to make everything move as slow as possible and paint everything in dystopic shades of sooty gray. Nobody's happy, and, hell, nobody's even feisty or the sort you can get behind and like. All the characters act and behave as though their brains were created out of badly made clockwork in desperate need of winding up, or else maybe just wholesale recall and removal by Sylar if necessary. Now back to the plot holes I mentioned. I'm generally pretty lenient when it comes to this sort of thing, but there are some glaring issues with this story, such as, how did a baron, a minor noble, wall off the entirety of Whitechapel with no one noticing? And why is Queen Victoria not simply hauled in all her military force and stormed the place? I mean, I'm willing to give a lot of leeway to the power of the Boilermen, but they are not the Golden Army. If you throw enough people at something, it will fall, and given that this is the height of the British Empire, hauling in enough forces shouldn't be a problem. Whitechapel's residents are also completely ass-backwards as well. There are descriptions of well-to-do people traipsing around in placid complacence to their masters, which is just stupid. Anyone who knows anything about Whitechapel knows it was a slum. That's why Jack the Ripper killed there. It was a working-class district and home to those who were just trying to stay alive, not the sort of place that would house any well-dressed middle-class types. And finally, the tone of the book is just depressing. The thing I love about steampunk is its sense of hope and confidence. The setting may be a dystopic future, but the responsive steampunk character, in my mind, is more on par with Malcolm Reynolds' glove in the face, I aim to misbehave, implying that you are going to raise some real hell and have a great time while doing it, rather than a moping, we're all gonna die take on things. Well, that's it for today. My next review will be the beginning of my Hellboy series, in which I chronicle the comics, movies, and all other related topics that feature Mike Mignola's big, red, cigar-chomping demon with a heart of gold. Till next time.